Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for coming. Start off by looking for a motion to move the minutes.
I'll move it. Second.
Any discussion or changes? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. And you got that. Okay, HS1, a resolution authorizing budget mod, Office of the Aging, keep alternate certifier services.
Yes. With the Office for the Aging contracts for social services contracts with the Office for the Aging to be an alternate certifier for the home energy assistance program, we assist seniors and those who are deemed disabled to complete their applications. With our staff turnover this summer, 2 of our workers that work on the applications are brand new, never really processed HEAP applications before, as well as our aging services specialist. We had a retirement, so her responsibilities fall on our HEAP supervisor internally who reviews all the applications in our office. So we met with social services stating that we would not be able to meet all of the requirements within the contract. So we came to a decision that they would like to have us continue being alternate certifier. They're working with us. They took some of the workload off of our shoulders so that we can continue to do so. With that though, some of the financing had to go back to them as well. So it's reducing our revenue line by $5,000. We budgeted $25,000 for that service, but it'll be $20,000 we receive. So I'm looking to take it out of my revenue line and putting it back to social services expenditure line.
Motion for discussion.
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
Stacy, did you have any comment on this?
No, we love all of that.
Yeah.
Whatever way we can.
And I do
Okay.
appreciate that.
Any other questions for Sarah then? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. This will be the only year. Next year we should go back to full service.
Okay. Yeah, let's go under committee review and decisions, the bid report that got passed out.
Yes, this bid report, it was put in the infrastructure committee's packet because Onondaga tacked this bid report onto an infrastructure bid report. This is for it's on the second or third page of what was handed out. This is for the process.
OSW 3519.
Yep, 3519 process server for legal process service related to child abuse and or neglect matters filed in the Oswego County Family Court. The bid was let according to our policy and state law. You had 5 responders. The low bid met all specs, and they're asking that we award the bid to the low bidder, legal process services, D&M Enterprises Services. This is under the Department of Social Services.
Yeah. So is this plus mileage or are these flat? Or?
It's per instrument, so. Yeah.
I don't have any questions. Anybody else have? Well, look for a motion to discuss.
Make a motion. I'll second.
Any thoughts, questions?
That's not something Phil can do.
Hey, give me a county car to run around in, I'll go do it.
You heard it.
Yeah, especially these out-of-state ones, right?
Yeah.
How about the one in Puerto Rico? Service in Puerto Rico.
Well, they need to.
We don't usually find.
I'm willing to look for a month.
Do you know about this? About the service, correct? Yeah.
I know it's
I am
something.
sorry, I didn't know this was on the agenda, so
It is not plus mileage, it should be included.
No,
Most-
it's per instrument served depending on the situation. You have service within the county, outside.
Yeah, that's my only question, Phil, is did they address in county, out of county,
Yes,
out of state? Perfect. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I just wanna
I've
make
got 'em
sure it meets.
You can take that one.
in county, out of county, in state, out of state, and apparently Puerto Rico.
Okay. Yeah. no,
Yeah,
that's
we've
fine.
had quite a journey and getting a good process server. So,
Yeah, I know we've done this. We've had
This is
this
the
out.
third bid we put out in process services.
Just a question, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
When we put these out to, when Undyke puts these out to purchasing, do we typically lump everything together like this? Do we go-
No, I don't know why this was tacked on to the infrastructure report. That's why it only went to infrastructure originally, but no, normally each committee gets its own report. This was discovered yesterday during infrastructure.
Well, I mean, we had 5 responses. We're accepting the low bid. I don't think there's any big questions here. It's not huge amount of money. So, any other thoughts, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we'll accept that. All right, reporting departments. Brian, you get to go first.
Okay, with your permission, can I put the type 1 diabetes first, so there's people here and they can,
Absolutely.
okay. So legislator Krasik, you want me to start, or do you want to start?
You start.
Thanks. All right, so,
You want to start?
today we have, brought a few people from the collaborative team that is a part of the Oswego County T1D program, which has been up and running since maybe the spring of this year. As not only the youth girl, but a parent of 2 kids who have type 1 diabetes. Over the years, we've had to work with not only ourselves, but other families of when a child is diagnosed with diabetes, having options and understanding what is out there. And I'm going to let the others introduce themselves, and then Ms. Diane Oldenburg is going to take over the presentation from the health department. I don't know if you guys want to introduce yourselves as well. But
Sure. My name is Becky Kimberly. I'm the director of the Central Square Medical Center, affiliated with Oswego Health. And I have a child that is going to be 14 on Halloween. He's been diagnosed since he was age 3. And I was looking for local resources for him because we have to drive to Rochester if he wants to go to camp, or he can't even go to when he was little, to the daycare at the YMCA because there's nobody to administer his medicine. So we always had to drive a distance for him to be able to have those types of resources. So that's why I became a part of this group.
I'm Diane Oldenburg. I'm the Senior Public Health Educator with the County Health Department. And I guess as Brian said, probably last spring, maybe late winter, I got a call from Leanna Cleveland with Oswego County Opportunities. And just like,
I'm sorry.
she was just like, hey, what kind of resources are there around the county for type 1 diabetes? Or do we even know how many kids? So kind of doing a little research. There's really not even a really good way to capture that data on how many kids or families are impacted with type 1 diabetes. So we kind of got thinking about some other interested parties in the county, and a group came together led by some parents, again, looking for resources, and some professionals. So with the health department, Legislator Krasik, the hospital, OCO, sure I'm missing a few people here, Julie gave us.
you're missing me.
Well, we know you, you're here. So we kind of got together and started putting some ideas out there on how could we maybe push some resources for families with type 1 diabetes. So the card that's going around is kind of our inaugural kind of kickoff and some information of things that are coming up. So what we planned to do was to bring folks together that are impacted by this and just offer some supports, find out what supports are needed or if they're interested in. Again, to kind of capture numbers, we called school nurses to kind of see, hey, who's out there in our schools. So we came up with about 68 children in Oswego County schools. So that doesn't include maybe recent graduates, so young adults, doesn't include those that aren't quite school aged yet. And we have families with children that were diagnosed prior to being school age. So we know that's probably a conservative number that we have. So our inaugural events will be on November 6th at City BOCES, and we're going to do 2 panels. One will be a panel of young people, roughly ages 6 to 19. Then we'll have an older young adult and older panel of people with type 1 diabetes. And again, just an opportunity for children with type 1 diabetes and families to come together, talk about experiences. Often it was left in Oswego County either to travel to Syracuse, travel to Rochester, or rely on families that have lived the experience, that are willing to share their stories and provide guidance. So we're hoping to be able to pull people together, get some faces together, families that can be resources, and really find out what those families are looking for, whether it's camp experiences, whether it's just a number to call, whether it's to say a child that's 10 or 12 to look at a college student that's playing collegiate level soccer, or someone that's a policeman or a fireman or a professional that this might feel like it controls their life right now, but there's lots of options out there. So, yeah. Do you want to?
Yeah, no, I mean, I just echo everything she said, but one thing too that we hope to do is push out some education to caregivers of the kids, like sports coaches. And my son had a low sugar. He plays soccer for the JV team in Fulton, and he called me, and I went over, and the coach said, "I had no idea you needed to come down here." Like, he had no idea how serious that it could be. So that's one of our hopes, is to just raise awareness for coaches and other kids that go to school with our kids, so that people know more about it and what to do in times of emergency.
Would you like to explain the difference between type 1 and type 2, please?
Okay. Type 1 diabetes, your pancreas just doesn't make its own insulin. Sometimes you might make a little bit of insulin, but your body doesn't use it. But in my son's case, his pancreas got attacked by a virus when he was 3, and it just stopped making insulin. So then you have to take insulin via an injection, or my son was insulin pump. Type 2 diabetes is more of an adult onset illness. It can be genetics, diet associated, and you don't always need insulin, but that can be managed with oral medications. And some people don't need medicine at all. They can manage it with diet and exercise if they're compliant.
So we've always, my son was diagnosed when he was 1 year old. He's now a high school senior. So 17 years we've dealt with having diabetes in our family. And imagining my daughter, who is 19, was diagnosed when she was 11. So she had already known what my son was going through than being diagnosed herself. She's been a part of the ambassadors for type 1 diabetes that is mentioned. She plays soccer for Lemoyne College. She's been an advocate for being able to do what normal kids do. They talked about camps. Both my kids went to Camp Hollis as kids. They were able to go as diabetic children with the right health plan. Our health department has always been able to work with kids as you're going in to do that. But technology has come a long ways too. With our phones now can tell us what our kids are doing with diabetes, if they have a continuous glucose monitor, if they're on the pump. So that even though my daughter could be in Boston, I can know what her blood sugars are just by basically looking at that. And that hasn't always been that way. And part of the reason why this group has been put together is every day, if you're a parent, or if you're known to be able to answer questions, people will reach out to you. We don't claim many of us are experts, but we're certainly able to give advice or point fingers in the right directions as to help families, because you'll have that happening on a daily basis. So this whole group that's come together, the forum that we're going to do in November, some people will be. Is your son's being part of that, isn't it? Yeah. So we have some kids who will be there who are going to be able to talk to other kids or parents about what the experiences they go through. My daughter will be there as well, as from where she's been and being as a college student. And then we have adults who could be like any of our age who've been living with type 1 diabetes since they were young. So it'll be an interesting panel to go forth, and it'll be learning, if not anything, and we're learning as well as we're seeing the numbers. It's difficult. You may ask where are they all at. A lot of it has been based upon the size of the district. I think there's maybe around 17 kids maybe in Oswego that are diagnosed. Oswego, Mexico, and I think Central Square are the three biggest districts with numbers. They're all within that same range, and then it varies from what we have. But as Diane said, those are numbers that we know of kids who are in school. So my daughter, for example, who's 19, she's not one of those 68. So the numbers, even though we have young adults who aren't counted, it's even higher than what we've mentioned. And we talked about before, my high school senior, who will be 18, when he was diagnosed when he was 1, he was one of, if not the only kid that was on record in the Oswego City School District when he first started attending school. So that is one of the things that we're looking at as well too, that 12 years ago, 1, now 17. I remember an interesting piece too when you look at statistics. I remember when he was a sophomore playing basketball for Oswego High School, him and another student both were type 1 diabetics on the floor. And you figure you have 5 players on the floor, 2 of them are type 1 diabetics. It was just, to me, a really weird statistic. It's just when they say numbers. So this is just a group that's getting together, and we thought that we would just bring it out to let you know as to what's happening, and again, sharing this information with whomever you could, so that we can continue to be able to spread information and help people when they're looking at the diagnosis or most of the class.
So the other piece of this is that we talked about this, they presented at the health committee today. I'm dealing currently as an advocate with the school district, and I'm not going to name who it is, that they have a type 1, and they have totally failed in their responsibilities with this child. Every time something happens, they push it back on the parents. They know that she didn't tell us this, da. Well, kids in school and struggling, and they're like, well, I don't know how to read that particular meter. I've never been trained on that one. My position is, if this child needs that much care, should have a one-on-one, and somebody can administer medication. And they didn't understand that he was on a pump administers medication. So we're having quite a tangle with them. We've had a couple of meetings where they tried to push back and not accept responsibility. They're going to. We finally showed them a few pieces of paper and law that said you don't have a choice. You can get mad all you want, but you've got to accommodate this child. And in that, the parents are very frustrated. And I think that's where this group becomes an important piece, is that parents that run into these issues, these questions, they're having a bad day, because everything in that day went wrong. Who do they reach out to that understands? The neighbor's like, that's hard, But another parent is like, wow, I've been there, and this is what I did, and that's kind of what it does. They got a good Facebook page. I asked this morning, I was told you have 100 followers, 200 followers. Great, that's phenomenal for the short amount of time that this has been an organization. The other thing is, once again, and I always try to beat the drum of Oswego when we can do that, is here again, Oswego County has got something in place for parents that are doing this and have these questions, have these concerns, and able to reach out and connect with other people. And parents who are new to this and don't even begin to understand the process would be able to reach out and say, hi, my 3-year-old just got diagnosed. I'm really confused, and then other parents who have been through this walk the walk and come back to them and say, you know what, let's meet for a cup of coffee. Let's talk about what you need to understand in your roles and other roles, and what we could do to help support you, emotionally through what you're going through. So it's a great program. I don't make it to as many meetings as I should, because unfortunately they always bang up against something else. But I'm very supportive of it, and I want to make sure that
the legislative body knew about this. Please, if you don't use the card, I always tell people in our office, if you get information that's useful, and you don't want to read it, and you don't like it, put it in your card, and next time you go to your doctor's office, put it in the magazine rack up there, and let someone else look at it and might get interested. Share the love. Back to you.
That's all we got, unless there's any questions.
Is something going on tonight?
No.
Oh, this-
Leftovers tomorrow.
That's here.
oh, gotcha. We are, I'm on board. I was like, now what kind of party you guys having at 11 o'clock tonight?
Yeah, I didn't make those starts.
Yeah.
Oh, I see
Yeah.
what you're saying.
Mhm. Okay,
Can I just say one more thing?
sure, thank you.
I know we've talked a lot about the support for the parents of this group, but I just want to say that being able to connect all of the kids is really important because they do feel very segregated in a lot of ways, and different, I guess is a better word. And when my son was able to go to camp in Rochester, it wasn't the exception to be a diabetic. You couldn't go unless you were diabetic. And it was just nice for him to make those connections with other kids. So it's a great resource for the parents, but also for the kids. And my son has met some great kids with diabetes as a result of being able to have that opportunity, that our kids are allowed to spend the night and vacation with each other because we can take comfort in knowing that their parents know how to take care of them. So I just wanted to say that it's good support for the parents, but it's great for the kids too, to be able to meet each other.
It's a good point that we actually encourage, if diabetics are gonna come, is to bring their friend with them so that they can talk as well at night, so it's what it's like to be a friend to that. To this day, if we get an alarm in the middle of the night, my daughter's blood sugar being low, if we can't get a hold of her, we get a hold of her roommate to say, hey, what's going on? This because this, correct me if I'm wrong, but a diabetic parent's biggest fear, they don't wake up. So, that's
Okay,
a bit.
Brian, you still have the floor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so,
Thank you.
we had a, this is covering going through different things that, I've done some research to try to figure out, Bill, I don't know if you can help me on this one. Camp House has never charged a security deposit in the history of Camp House that I can find anywhere. And just looking for your approval and discussion, unless you're opposed to it, I'd like to request $100 security deposit for Camp House rentals in the future. We had a wedding out there this past year that was a week long and it went very well, but they were using equipment while they were out there and it was just, we got everything back, but what if we didn't? Or they had it rented for the whole week and I think even though they were all week long, I think they were there at 11 o'clock that Sunday night before checkout, before that midnight hour came along. They got every minute of use out of camp, which is fine. But if they roll it over, I got a security there at that point in time. Is there a way, how do we recoup this money? So I guess what I'm looking for is discussion, unless you're opposed, I'd like to request $100 security deposit for rentals at Camp Hollis. I talked to Rich a little bit about it. He suggested the cleanest way would be to look at the fee proposal that you approved last year, and I don't know if we propose that again, and then add to it $100 security deposit is required, maybe waived to public entities, as Rich just said, we could word it however, but he thought that might be the easiest way is to, I don't know if you guys want to visit that again, we bring the whole fee structure proposal out again?
Yeah, I think any fee, change to a fee structure's gotta go through, I think finance and personnel approves all fees. So it'd start in this committee, go to them, but the security deposit idea, I'm assuming it would be a refundable.
Yes.
Just,
Sometimes they borrow pots and pans and such, Lois gets a little worked up. One disappears. And they're costly, for a big,
Well, sure, and if they disappear, you should be able to take it out. I don't think anybody's gonna have a problem with this. Go ahead.
Administratively, is there an issue with taking money, returning it? Whose job is that? Is that anything?
Camp Service always had a security deposit, separate bank account, separate check. Online, the way the whole web page is going, it would all be separated.
Okay. So, yep.
Have you experienced anybody who has rented the place but canceled on you in a kind of short notice, and you sort of out in terms of abilities? I think of many
sure
vendors
sure that can happen, but most of the time, if somebody's not like in a somebody's got it rented this weekend and cancels today,
Yeah.
nothing like that. But maybe somebody had this day rented for a year, and then they cancel a month ago.
Yeah.
That may happen, but normally it's not too difficult to rebook it.
Okay.
But I can see what you're saying, and that
And keeping the security deposit, I guess.
well,
that
their
would be-
deposit's not refundable.
So their deposit. Yeah.
I see, this is in addition.
This is in addition to it.
Because the deposit goes towards rental of a facility, but like I said, going back to damage or things disappearing or just, you know, it's part of that wedding that week long, they had dogs out there. I said, nowhere in Camp Flowers, anything can I find you can't have a dog there because it's a public park. But man, you get 2 or 3 dogs out there for a week. It's interesting. You just imagine. So, security deposit won't have you a bad day.
So why don't we just plan to amend the policy and bring it back at a future meeting, and we'll put it into place for
Sure. Okay, I can do that. Bring back
next year? Are you booking next year yet?
Okay, I can do that.
They're booking next year, right?
They are, but we're not accepting that. They can reserve the January one this one. So I can bring this back next month.
Okay, other department updates?
All right, quickly, the Community Services Forum is scheduled for November 21st at the Oswego Health Lodge. This is an event that we put on each year for about the last 15 years. It is an event where service programs can come, tabling. It's an opportunity for meet and greet and networking, collaboration. Last year we had about 60 different agencies there, working with Stu Amell, looking to do a series of 4. They did one this summer that was focused directly with schools. This one in Oswego, reason why we chose the Elks is the walk-up traffic and the accessibility to being able to get on a bus route. It's right there. To use it, the Elks is going to be very generous in working with us to do so. We've already, since we put it out there, have about 25 agencies committed to attend. We're guessing we're going to surpass the 60 because a lot of the traditional agencies have not responded yet.
60?
60, yes.
How are you gonna fit 60?
In the Elks Lodge?
Yeah.
Easily. They just tabling, they can do it. It's not a problem. Wedding lodges, they hold over 200.
Two double-decker tables?
Yeah, last year we had over 50 at Catholic Charities, and there was plenty of room. With that, the event also will work with one of the weak spots that we felt in the past where we were looking to do better was, again, everybody's challenge with schools. So this year I reached out to the Oswego County School Board Association, and I have a member on our planning committee as well. So she is addressing the school districts herself. So looking to get school personnel to be able to attend that meeting or that event that day as well. So I wanted to give you guys all that. If you have a table and you want a table, just let us know. We have registration. If you want to attend the event, there's no registration, there's no fee. You're able to attend. It's between 9 and noon. A lot of staff or a lot of agencies will bring their Stacy's and then their new people, so that the new people can go around and meet everybody, and then the other people can say, hey, you're Stacy, so they can put that face to a name. It'd be not really she's gotta go, but just using her as an example of it's ideally if she like somebody hers there and then somebody brand new, so the brand new person can go around and then that person can be able to man the table. Like Sarah usually goes. Yeah.
It'd be lucky if every agency had a Stacy there.
I know. That's what we think. I can try to duplicate it. So that is the forum that we're doing. I'm going to pass this out to, I may have given you guys this before, but it's coming up. You can see I have flyers left. The House Harvest is coming up on October 19th. They have Camp House, similar but different. It's a fun day for kids. It will be rain or shine on house property. It's safe Halloween activities. All the cabins are spoken for by, again, not-for-profit agencies who will do safe, fun Halloween events for kids to go. In the past couple of years, we've had very large crowds attend the event. Lucky us, I think 2 years ago when we did it, it was like a day like today in October on a Saturday, so lucky the sheriff's department was there because it was very crowded. But again, that's one of the events we're doing. We're also doing a trunk or treat with the Lighthouse Lanes, and that will be taking place on October 26th, and that will again be a safe trick or treating event for children. We are working with Oswego for Youth Laker Hockey Night on November 1st, and 130 kids will get to go to the game for free. They'll get a food coupon, and they'll get a Lakers shirt and get to meet and greet the Lakers after the game. So that's a collaboration we're trying to do with SUNY Oswego. We're doing a Kids Make and Take Christmas Gift Day on December 7th from 12 to 3, and it's an opportunity for kids to make gifts for their families. Obviously, it's free of cost, so a good opportunity to do so. Quickly, Camp Zerby update that the construction out there, when I was last out there last week, they were done with about 99% of the septic system. They were finishing up the dosing chamber that just came in. They're finishing that up, and they're waiting for the well driller to come back to put the screen in, and then they should be done with the infrastructure work that they've been working on a long process for that. Senior Camping, who goes to Camp House, has been there for over 20 years. They are looking to donate. This is something we'll talk about down the line, but they would like to donate a solar cover to Camp House to keep the pool water warm on those colder nights that we have. So something they're really pushing towards us. They're getting pricing for it, and they're going to get back to me, if not this year, at the beginning of next year, but would be a nice thing because it would be a donation from Senior Camping and no cost to us to have a solar cover. Phil, I don't know if you have an update on, if you heard anything on the ready money?
We're anticipating announcements probably in the next few days.
Right, so I have my board meeting tomorrow, and my buddy Dave, Super Dave, is supposed to be on the hotline with me to let me know if we get an answer before then. He asked me how late I can wait to actually print it, and I said, just tell me when, but Dave Turner's been working with them at both Camp House and Independence Trail. We're in the recommended group to go forward. Doesn't mean we'll get funded, but it means we're in the next step. Should that be, they would be providing upgrades to the bluff and to the boardwalk at Independence Trail and the bluff at Camp House, which are both needed to move forward. And lastly, our imagination libraries. For those of you who remember the Valley Park Imagination Libraries, where you can sign your child up from age 0 to 5 to receive a book every month. We started in the Hannibal School District last year around this time, maybe a little bit later. We are in all 9 districts right now, so all 9 districts are live. Signing your child up, they receive a book. Their first book, they get going. Their last book they get once they turn 5. It's called Off to Kindergarten. Again, the big picture, when we look at that, statistics will show getting books in kids' hands before age 5, the graduation rates, all those things dramatically skyrocket from that. So this is a project we've been working on for almost 2 years now. Having the funding in place, working with United Way and literacy volunteers, we've been able to finally secure having all 9 districts live right now. So that's where we're at.
Very good. Questions?
Am I in this?
Horizon, yes.
You don't tell me until like 2 days ahead of this.
You have not sent your RSVP back, but I believe we have one for Horizon.
I don't see that.
I
You got one from
you guys
Horizon.
always have them, but I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Well, our Stacy gets to do her DSS update.
Sure. So, I'll tell you about signage we like at Fulton, our Fulton building. Well, I'm gonna pass these around and, address that chart. So, our workforce development board, we work closely with our employment and training. And we have talked for over a year about purchasing a double-sided digital sign for outside of the Fulton office. We had a big sign made when we had a Novellus. It wasn't digital, a Novellus job fair. And people were stopping, taking pictures, putting it on Facebook. I mean, it really got a lot of play. But it was kind of labor intense to do one great big huge sign everybody could see for one event. This would be an electronic sign. It's $10,085. We got 3 quotes through our WDB, and they have $6,000, and we would like to contribute $5,000 from our DSS budget with a 0 impact on our budget. Correct? Fiscal officer? Okay. And so Gina Tucker, the executive director over at WDB, has sent a letter to us. We have the quote. We did get 3 quotes to WDB. And so I would like your blessing on this project. And if that's the case, we can move right forward, Bill? Is that what we should do with this today? If they say okay to this $5,000 to Gina?
Yeah, they formally requested that.
They formally requested it. Yep.
So this is part of the work that Gina's been doing to promote the work projects, and the two-sided digital sign is able to be changed to do all different sorts of promotions.
Our
Job fairs, could even be specific types of openings or whatever that they want to put up there.
Correct. And she actually puts in her letter, and I know she's got even more research behind marketing and strategies to bring visibility. The one thing that we heard loud and clear when we did surveys is people didn't know about our one-stop center.
Right.
And so we really want to continue to have strategies that will build that visibility.
Where exactly is it going to be?
So it's going to be right in front of the building,
Right adjacent to the road.
adjacent to the road, yeah. And we don't need it, we just found out we don't need a DOT permit as long as the flashing is a minimum of 8 seconds. So it has to be 8 seconds or more with the signage. We do need a permit from the city of Fulton.
Do you end up with that before you make the purchase?
Absolutely. We'll get our eyes on it.
And does she have the specs on the, what's the size of it?
Does. 3 by 6 foot ID cabinet with 40-inch pedestal.
I look for a motion to discuss.
Move for discussion.
Second.
Question?
Yeah, just a thought, there's no need for a budget modification for something like this, where are you moving funds?
We already have it in the budget.
What budget line is this coming from?
It's gonna come from a couple of different budget lines, actually.
Like what I have to do is take it out of budget lines where we won't cap out, we'll use all the expense items.
So if you approve this, still do a budget mod to me since it's less than $10,000. Just move it.
Okay. Thanks.
Other questions?
I'm on Workforce Development Board, and they talked about this meeting, and the Workforce Development Board is very positive and hopeful that something like this will happen. They talked about how, kind of as Stacy said, about how they feel the advertising they can do in the Bellises and Schumach's thoughts.
Well, and could you share Stacy's letter with the committee?
Sure.
Via email,
Sure, yeah, no, sure, absolutely.
just for their information and had some. She made a pretty good case for it.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions or discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Apparently Dan's abstaining.
And I might need him from the city of
Pretty sure he'll be for it.
I'll take care of that tonight.
Okay. Well, we're just picking up the permit application.
Do you wanna wait one more second? Or,
I'll do that.
Dan, did you hear any of our discussion about the digital sign, Department of Social Services? We just,
Well,
I mean, at the workforce development, one stop. Okay, digital signs proposed at $5,000. It's coming out of their budget. She would provide a budget motto to fill later. That doesn't raise the budget.
I'll send you via email, this information, the letter. We have to have a permit with the city of Fulton. I don't imagine it's gonna be an issue, but, I will certainly, and you'll have it too, this afternoon. But any support we can get.
All right, so we just finished the vote on it. Did you want to add your vote or?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Stacy, you can go on then.
Yes, and so I've sent a chart out to you, I know, you're gonna be looking at, some 2020 projected budget, so I thought this might be some good information for you. So we have this chart that got started back in 2006 for a 10-year trend, and so I made it a 13-year trend. And here is, the numbers of children in foster care as of the end of the year. So remember, we've got kids coming in and out, in and out. So I don't typically give you that unduplicated number of kids who are in care for a whole year. I typically give you a point in time, because otherwise it sounds like, whoa, we had over, 330 kids. 400 kids, but, so this is a point in time count as of that last day of the year. You can see in 2006, we had 187, and it cost us 10.3 million. We had 174 kids, and it cost us 11.3 million. And then we took that sharp dip, and then we got a second judge on the bench in 2015. And then we started to see foster care go back up, and now we're at 201 as of the end of August. And our expenses at the end of June down below is 4.3 million. So we'll project it to be around 8.8 million, 8.6 million if we can get some kids out of care. So you can see it's actually a little less funds for a comparable number of kids, because back in the early 2000s, we put a lot of kids in congregate care. Group homes, institutions, residential facilities was just what you did. That was kind of our practice in New York. So we have definitely shifted to the use of more foster care. As we approach 2021 with Families First Preventive Services Act, that's that FAFSA is how they're using that acronym now. We're getting a lot of guidance from OCFS. It's going to be a lot more paperwork for our caseworkers, yet more. They keep adding, and taking nothing away. We are very strong advocates at the table as commissioners at the state, but it does seem to not get paid attention to because there's just so many more rules. And if we want to bring that federal 4E money into our midst, we're going to have to play by the rules. So we're doing what we can, but it is a really heavy lift right now. And you can see just from the end of 2018, 145, to the end of August to 201, it's just happening quickly. Again, it's a lot of heroin, meth, drug abuse, and we're putting a lot of kids in relative placement. Sometimes those are Article 10s, in other words, the relatives actually take custody of the kids. Sometimes they're relative foster homes, meaning they are certified as a foster parent and we pay them as foster parents, but they're actually a relative to the kid. So we're doing as much as we can with that.
Stacy, what do you see for trends in need for therapeutic or special needs homes? And that does cost more.
It costs more. We don't run any from the county side. Those would be our private vendors, our private providers are doing more of those, what they call therapeutic homes.
Well, still, it comes out of our budget.
It sure does come out of our budget.
But what's the trend? Is it kind of stable or is that increasing? Is the number of therapeutic needs in particular?
I don't know the answer to that, Brett. I have to kind of look a deeper dive on that, but I can do that.
So on one hand, I kind of guess that it would be just because of the drug, because the opioid addiction, because if the family is doing it, what's going on, especially for teenagers. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll get you.
Okay.
Because that definitely, I would think, would affect these numbers significantly.
Yeah. I can tell you that our private agencies are pushing hard to get the highest rate they can get.
Well, hopefully they're making conservative decisions too on getting these kids what they need.
Yes.
That really is the problem.
Yeah.
Let's get the kids what they need.
Any other questions on the chart? Then my last announcement is, so today we received, a few of us, the celebratory email from the state that October 1st, Raise the Age is in full swing. Anyone under 18, so 17-year-olds now, 16 and 17-year-olds, do not go to the adult court system. And so we'll see what that brings us, because you got any thoughts on any of that?
That you can share publicly?
No.
I thought so.
All right. Anybody else have any questions for Stacy?
Just on that raise age stuff, is there a plan in place to start really tracking and have every piece of statistical data that we have on this in historical and trend? I'm just really curious, as soon as we can figure out where this thing's heading.
It's largely done through the probation.
It is.
And a whole plan.
The piece for DSS is, it's largely done with the probation department until they get placed. And then once they get placed, DSS pays the bill, DSS tracks the kid in connections, DSS does aftercare services plans. We pay for the aftercare services, and we claim for it. And we hopefully get 100% back on all RTA as long as all the documentation is there. Well, it's still our case.
Anything else for Stacy? Okay,
You were twice as fast as Brian, just saying.
under,
That doesn't happen very often either.
Tim will point it out when it does.
Of course you would.
That does happen.
Jamie had to travel today and sent me this note to share with everybody, a little report. This is from Jamie. She says, the Veterans Agency would like to thank the legislators and the Veterans Service Advisory Committee for a very successful Veteran of the Year award at VONAS on September 18th, 2019. This event was widely publicized and could not have been more successful. The Veterans Agency can't thank those of you who have supported this endeavor enough and look forward to putting on this event for years to come. And she attached a card from Mrs. Greenleaf, whose husband was the Veteran of the Year, and she closes that note by saying, our hearts are full, such a special and magical evening, thank you. So that note is here for anybody who would like to look at it and it was quite a good showing of legislators that night, really good. So that's it for veterans, so with that, we can move right on to Sarah and obviously legislation.
I will keep things moving right along. I don't have a lot to share. I did want to say though, in response to the last couple of years, we've been trying to reach out to secluded seniors. We started the telephone reassurance program, A Friendly Call. The last couple of years, we have also, at Christmas time, we do Christmas cards for seniors who don't have any family members in the nursing homes or within the high-rise senior buildings as well. And staff are always trying to look for ways to reach our vulnerable, secluded seniors. So they started a Santa for Seniors. So what this program is, it's the inaugural year. We're reaching out to agencies to get names of seniors who don't have family, that they're secluded, that they might get a little uplift by getting a Christmas gift. So we're getting names, but then we're also soliciting people who'd like to adopt a senior. No senior names will be given to anyone, so we'll be collecting gifts, and then we would also be the Office for the Aging would be delivering the gifts as well. And starting off, because it is all voluntary, everything that's going on except for the staff time for it. We're limiting it to 30 seniors this year, but I just want to share that with you. Once,
Sure, no,
I believe there's enough for you.
you know what, we'll send it
I-
out to the legislature.
And I'll send a letter out to the full legislature with the information too, so in case there's anyone that you know of or you could think of, when you're out and about, that someone could benefit from a special little gift at Christmas time. It's no perishable items, no plants, no gift cards, because many times our seniors don't have transportation to be able to go out and utilize that gift card, so it's just little, some little gifts that they can have to help brighten their day. Other counties have been doing this, so we'll see where this goes. Hopefully, we'll be able to expand it in the years to come, and again, it's to get out in the community and for our secluded seniors, and maybe when we're out there delivering the gift, we can let them know about other programs that are available. So maybe they would benefit from home delivered meals or heating assistance or senior home care. So it's a way to get out in the community for people that we didn't, that we may not be aware of that could use the additional services.
No, if there's no plants, I mean, does that mean other pets? I mean, could you do like lizards, goldfish, anything like that?
Tim,
It's perishable.
Snakes, spiders.
I would think there'd be an additional expense with that for them to carry on, so probably not.
I know a few lizards in my new home, so.
Any questions on that at all?
That would be a great thing for the community services forum, though, that each agency that day.
I'm sure we'll have that on the table. An initial mailing did go out this week to agencies, so, but certainly we will have it available.
And DSS would love to participate.
Great.
With a generous staff.
Also, our unmet needs application, I know that I've been talking about this money for months now. Our application was approved, so we can feel better about spending that money now. The nutrition services contract I have here, I'm going to be going out to see Gary Mashaw at Oswego Transportation to get his signature so we can move forward. It wouldn't be this first week of October, but hopefully next week we can get some additional routes to the nutrition sites. We'll also be looking to do some voucher type transportation so that seniors can get to doctor's appointments outside of the county. Because right now we have call and ride. Call and ride is only within Oswego County, but there's a lot of seniors that have specialists in Syracuse or Watertown or maybe even Rochester. So we will be looking to get that up and running as well. That's really all I have. We're just trying to stay above water with heat and open enrollment was next year party. And, so if you come over to our office, it'll be a little crazy, but we welcome you.
Alrighty. Look for the appropriate motion.
Second.
All those in favor of adjournment? Thank you.